Hey, greetings from Brain Gauge channel. I'm Mark Haverdahl, and I'm going to just give you a quick case study, uh, which sort of follows up from the question and answer about how does the brain gauge differ from other methods. And we did a fairly large study, or we have been working with a lot of athletic trainers over the years, and started collecting data around 2010. And we have several hundred concussed student athletes in our database. And but it's always hard to look at the results of a study. So what we're going to do is the case studies are really easy, and case studies are an N of one. They give you important information, they give you whatever, but so let's take a look at a case study, which is basically exemplary data from this larger study. And in that larger study, we had a lot of people, and what we did was we collected their data after they were injured. And in this case, if you're not familiar with the brain gauge or the brain gauge metrics, and basically what you see here is the plot or a timeline, and this would be the first day that data was collected. These points here are when data was collected, and this is the overall score. So we collect a lot of metrics with the brain gauge. We do several tests, and they generate different metrics in the case, like things like speed, accuracy, temporal order judgment, timing percept, plasticity, fatigue, focus. But the overall score is a compilation of all those scores. And basically what you see in this graph here is a timeline of this overall score. And so, the obvious thing is like the injury was on August 23rd. Typically, the players test the next day because they have a 24-hour stand down period if there's any question about having a concussion. And so when they test here, you see, oh, they didn't do so hot. And and basically, again, if you're not familiar with brain gauge metrics, red is bad, green is good. Short bars are bad, low numbers are bad. This is all scaled to normative data so that 0 is the worst score, 100 is the best score. Just like over here, 0 is the worst, 100 is the best. So I wrote into there, better performance goes up between 0 to 100. So here we have the injury, first day. Here's all the scores on that first day. Now, and you see the overall score is a 25, and that slowly goes up over time. And, this is a 3 to 4 week time period. And actually that fits very well with a lot of things. One, it sort of looks a lot like the overall average of the group data when we average it. It also matches very well with neurophysiological studies on animals who have received acute concussion, and you look at those other measures. But how does this compare to some of the other measures that were taken, that are routinely taken in studies? And let's go on to the next slide. And I just added a few things. Obviously, time point 1 is the injury. Time point 5 is when they are cleared to return to play. But the results from the study had, number 4 is when the group in the group data, on average, this is when on average, they were cleared to return to play. This person wasn't cleared until they got a lot better. But number 3, that's about a week after their injury, they were cleared by impact. Impact is a neurocognitive test, which basically is sort of becoming a standard. It's what everybody uses. And if you talk to a lot of athletic trainers, or the athletic trainers that we work with and we talk to, they all will say, yeah, most of these kids pass impact right away. Not either if not by day 7, many days sooner. A lot of them just do really well on that test. And over here we have, this is when, and I sort of said this is when they were cleared by balance testing. And that's actually not in the group study. That's actually not completely true. They weren't cleared on average, on this day, 2 to 3 days after the injury, it turns out that when the student athletes do the balance test, they're 15% better than they were before the injury. So, there's a lot of gamesmanship that goes on with balance testing and actually even with impact, where they can cheat the system and try to either they purposely do poorly on the pre-injury baseline testing, or they just do really well, or balance testing just really isn't a really good way to test for brain injuries. And again, it's just testing. Balance testing is really good at testing balance. Okay, enough said about that. But this is just sort of gives you an idea about how well this case study fit in with the overall group study. This is when most people were cleared. 2 to 3 weeks is sort of the norm for 21 to 28 days, sort of the norm for getting back to normal on brain gauge scores. So that's just basically how this acute concussion study fits in with that overall larger study that we did. And we've got some publications on this, and you're welcome to read them, but you can read more about that on the corticalmetrics.com website. And if you want to find out more case studies, we'll be getting more case studies posted on the Brain Gauge channel. So thanks for stopping in and listening.